Welcome to the deep dive. Those times when like a new health product seems to be everywhere you look.
Yeah.
That's Nagano Lean Body Tonic for me right now.
Oh,
It's got everyone talking, promising to help with weight loss and boost overall health. But is it the real deal or just clever marketing? Let's find out.
it's always smart to approach these things with a healthy dose of skepticism, but also with curiosity. What I find interesting about Nagano Lean Body Tonic is the buzz around its ingredients.
Yeah, that was my first thought too. We've got 3 articles here. One's a super detailed review from Consumer Health Digest. Another is a personal blog post, always fun to hear someone's actual experience. And the last one feels like I accidentally landed on a sales page.
Having this mix is actually perfect for a deep dive, wouldn't you say? We can see if the marketing claims match up with the science and what real people are experiencing.
Totally. So let's unpack what exactly is Nagano Lean Body Tonic.
All three sources describe it as a powder supplement you mix with water or your favorite beverage. They're pushing the 100% natural angle pretty hard, with a focus on things like superfoods, probiotics for gut health, and ingredients they call bioactive.
Okay, quick pause. Bioactive
Hmm.
just means a substance that has an effect on living tissue, right? Like
Hmm.
even water is technically bioactive.
Exactly. It's one of those words marketers love because it sounds impressive but doesn't actually tell you much on its own. We'll have to look closer at the specific ingredients to see if they live up to the hype.
Totally. Now, the claims. Where do we even begin? Weight loss, increased energy, better digestion. As they threw every health buzzword on the label.
Right, and it's easy to get swept up in those promises. But that's why we're here, to separate the hype from the facts. One thing that struck me right away was the mention of green tea extract. It's not exactly a new discovery, but there's actually some really interesting research emerging on how it might influence weight management.
It's like the comeback kid of the supplement world. I remember when green tea was all the rage years ago. What's the latest on that?
Well, it turns out that one of the compounds in green tea extract, called EGCG, might actually help boost your metabolism. The Consumer Health Digest review cited a study where people who took green tea extract actually saw a decrease in their body mass index, or BMI.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just marketing fluff. There might be something to it.
It's still early days in the research, and we need more studies to know for sure. Plus, the dosage used in the studies is often much higher than what you'd find in a typical cup of green tea.
That makes sense. So drinking gallons of green tea might not be the answer, haha. But this EGCG thing is definitely interesting. What other ingredients caught your eye?
One that I thought was clever, given the focus on gut health these days, is the inclusion of apple fiber powder.
Interesting. Is that just a fancy way of saying apple peel?
Basically. But it's more about the type of fiber it provides. See, this particular fiber is great at absorbing water in your gut, which helps you feel fuller for longer. And there's a fascinating study mentioned in one of the articles. It found that kids who ate apples regularly had a lower risk of becoming obese compared to kids who didn't. Now it's just one study, and we need more research to say for sure if apple fiber alone is the magic bullet.
But it definitely highlights how important what we eat is, and how even simple dietary changes can make a difference. Okay, so we've got green tea extract for a potential metabolic boost and apple fiber to help us feel fuller. What else is in this Nagano Lean Body Tonic cocktail?
Well, they also include Panax ginseng, which has been used for centuries in traditional medicine.
Oh yeah, ginseng. Isn't that supposed to be good for energy and focus?
That's the traditional belief, and some research suggests it might have a mild positive effect on energy levels. But what's interesting is that some studies have also shown a potential link between Panax ginseng and improved blood sugar control.
Really? So it could be helpful for people who are pre-diabetic or have type 2 diabetes.
Possibly. It's important to emphasize that this is still an area of ongoing research, and more studies are needed to confirm these benefits, but it does add another layer to the potential benefits of this tonic.
It's like every ingredient has this whole hidden depth to it. Okay, I need to know more about this potential blood sugar connection. That's huge for so many people.
Absolutely. And it ties into a bigger conversation about how we approach weight loss and overall health. It's not just about finding a magic pill or potion, but understanding how different systems in our body interact and influence each other.
I like that it's a more holistic approach. Okay, back to the ingredients list. Anything else stand out to you?
There are a couple more worth mentioning. One is Cinnamomum cassia, which is actually a close relative of the cinnamon we all know and love.
Wait, there are different kinds of cinnamon.
There are, and this one, cassia cinnamon, has been studied for its potential impact on gut health. Remember how we talked about the gut microbiome and how important it is for overall health?
Oh yeah, it's like a whole ecosystem living in there.
Exactly. And some research suggests that cassia cinnamon might help promote the growth of beneficial bacteria in the gut, which can have a positive ripple effect on digestion, metabolism, and even weight management.
Okay, this is fascinating. So this cinnamon relative could be helping to create a more balanced gut environment.
That's the idea. And then there's ashwagandha, which has gotten really popular lately.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Isn't it an adaptogen?
You got it. Adaptogens are natural substances that are believed to help the body cope with stress more effectively.
And we all know that stress can wreak havoc on our bodies in so many ways, including our weight.
Exactly. And one of the ways ashwagandha might help with weight management is by reducing those stress-induced cravings that can lead to overeating.
It's so interesting because sometimes it feels like those cravings are coming from nowhere, but maybe it's just our bodies trying to cope with stress in a not-so-healthy way.
That's a great way to think about it. And there's even some early research suggesting that ashwagandha might help improve sleep quality, which is another crucial factor in weight management that often gets overlooked.
Sleep, stress, gut health, it's all connected. Okay, so we've got this lineup of interesting ingredients, each with its own potential benefits. But I'm curious, what did you think of that article that felt like a sales pitch?
Oh, that one. Well, it was definitely interesting to see how they presented the information. They definitely emphasized the positive using phrases like miracle elixir and melt away fat.
Classic marketing tactics. Did they back up those claims with any actual evidence?
They did sprinkle in some references to scientific studies, but they mainly relied on personal testimonials and before and after photos.
Which, let's be real, can be very convincing, but aren't always a reliable indicator of a product's effectiveness.
Exactly. It's easy to cherry-pick positive stories and present them in a way that supports the desired narrative. That's why it's so important to be critical consumers of this type of information.
So how do we cut through the noise? How do we know if a product like Nagano Lean Body Tonic is right for us?
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it's not entirely bogus either. Some of the ingredients, at least, seem to have some science behind them.
Right, like the green tea extract with EGCG for metabolism, or the apple fiber to help you feel more full, the ashwagandha for stress. It seems like all those have some promising research behind them.
And that's an important point. This deep dive wasn't about, saying definitely yes or no to Nagano Lean Body Tonic. It was about giving you the information so you can decide for yourself, right?
Exactly. It's like we all have different bodies and different health goals, so what works for one person might not work for someone else,
Absolutely. And you know what really struck me while I was reading up on this? Is how important it is to look beyond just the individual ingredients.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we just spent all this time dissecting each ingredient one by one, but our bodies are these complex systems. Sometimes it's like the combination of things creates this effect that's bigger than just the individual parts.
So it's possible that this specific blend they have in Nagano Lean Body Tonic could have like a more noticeable impact than if you were just taking, say, a green tea supplement on its own.
Exactly. And that's something that's really tough to test in a lab. We don't fully get how all these different nutrients and compounds are interacting once they're actually in our bodies.
Yeah, like a whole other level.
It is. And it just shows how much we still don't know about nutrition and health and how our amazing bodies work.
Okay. So where does that leave us? What's the final takeaway for our listeners, especially if they're thinking about trying Nagano Lean Body Tonic?
I think the biggest thing to remember is there's no one right answer for everyone when it comes to health. Do your research, see how you feel, and if you're thinking about trying a new supplement, maybe check in with your doctor first.
Love that advice. And maybe start keeping a food journal. Or just pay more attention to how you feel after you eat certain things. Try out some different healthy habits.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what works best for you.
Well, there you have it. Another deep dive done and dusted. We covered so much ground today, from the actual research on the ingredients to how marketing comes into play and why a holistic approach to your health is so important.
Fascinating stuff.
It really was. And remember, everyone, knowledge is power. Hopefully this episode gave you the info you need to make good choices about your own health. Until next time, happy diving.